Can Southern Miss rebound after a complete disaster of a regional opener? It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, good morning, everyone. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. We'll get to Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina did what Coastal Carolina does with an easy win over Fairfield. All right, not a great night for Southern Miss, and we'll get to that here in a second. But it occurred to me because we all saw how the day started with ECU destroying Florida. And I thought, wow, that's going to be a wake-up call for some of the higher seeds. And yet it was probably the other way, where we saw some of the lower seeds say, if they can do it, why not us? All right. And the thing that I learned that I did not know in college baseball, everyone's got a Friday night starter. So all is not lost yet, mostly because Southern Miss's Friday night starter is pitching on Saturday. All right. So not a great start for Southern Miss, obviously losing 11-4. I think they got out hit, obviously 16-5. They didn't play very good defense. And the only reason they got in the game is because Columbia drops a fly ball. All right. And some of the stuff that I've been talking about, and that, baseball is fluky. Columbia hits a fly ball that honestly should have been caught. All right. If well positioned. And yet Southern Miss hits a couple of BBs and Columbia makes a couple of great plays, and nothing to show for it for Southern Miss. All right. So Southern Miss gets off to a slow start. Columbia jumps on top 1-0 in, let me get the box score up here so we can get to it. What do I do with it? Anyways, it was a 2-1 ball game in the fourth inning. Oh, did I closed it out by accident. It was 2-1 in the fourth inning. And obviously that's where the game changed. And obviously Matt Adams wasn't quite as sharp as Southern Miss was hoping for. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think Christian Ostrander, obviously we're, doing hindsight is 2020. But I'm going to tell you, I think he took him out too soon in my book. There's 2 on and 2 out. And it's the fourth inning. And I know we're trying to win the ball game in front of us. At the same time, there is the whole rest of the way to go. And I would have let him try to get out of that jam. All right. If there was 2 on and nobody out, all right. He didn't have his stuff. But there's 2 on and 2 out. Single through the left side, close play at the plate. I thought he was out instantly. Replay showed that he was safe, 3-1. And then maybe the play that turned the game, I guess. Again, I don't think Southern Miss was actually ever in the game. But a flare that should have been caught. Nick Monster makes a heck of an effort, almost popped out his shoulder trying to make this play. But Jay Cook is playing in the next county over. Go back and look at the replay. I know the shortstop who hit it has 16 bombs, but Jay Cook is basically playing on the warning track. We're not playing. Are we playing no doubles defense in the fourth inning? I mean, the only way that gets over Jay Cook's head is if it's out of the ballpark. That's it. All right. I don't have to play, behind the second baseman, but that ball is a relatively easy fly ball and should have been caught. And it's a 3-1 ball game. And maybe we don't know what happens after that. All right. But even that next inning, Southern Miss couldn't get that big base hit. What are we doing? We're squaring to bunt on a 3-2 pitch and checking our swing. I don't know. It felt like Southern Miss was discombobulated, maybe feeling the pressure, being behind, still relatively early, and just one big base hit down 6-3, and it's a 6-5 ball game, and all of a sudden you're right back in it. But that's not what happened. And so now they got to battle back. However, the final score was, it doesn't matter if it was 6-4. I mean, the insurance runs making it 9-4 and 11-4 prevent a comeback, right? If it's 6-3 or 6-4 heading into the eighth, takes one guy to get on. The tying runs come to the plate. Obviously, the 2 runs in the eighth and 3 in the ninth prevent that from happening. All right, so now let's move on. Where do we go from here? Can't think about Sunday. Can't think about Saturday. You have to get this done today. And that's going to be against Alabama, who took it on the chin. All right, so it's not necessarily recent history, although last year, I guess Florida did the same thing. They lost their first game, and they went on to win it. And when I first got to Lafayette, this is exactly what happened. Although a little bit different because the Cajuns were the number 1 seed in the tournament, and they lost to the 64th team in the tournament, Jackson State, and they pitched their ace. The Cajuns did, Austin Robichaux. They pitched their Friday night starter. They didn't hold back. They lost 1-0. Cajuns weren't retired in order all game long until the 9th. They got 8 base hits. They had 4 walks, and that high-powered offense couldn't push across a run. So now, not only are they in bad shape to lose a regional, they're in line to host their first super regional, and they're not going to do that. And yet they battled all the way through. All right. And so we can't worry about Monday. You have to take care of Saturday first. All right. And you don't know what you're going to be dealing with on Sunday and Monday. I heard that Southern Miss has got a good chance to do, they lined up 4 pitchers, the 5th, but does the other team have a 5th pitcher? Who knows? So take care of today, and we'll worry about Monday on Monday. Worry about Sunday on Sunday. Just take care of today. JB Middleton, let's flat out say it. He's got to give up 7 innings, 1 or 2 runs, and the bats have to come out, and they got to be sharp. All right? On the other hand, if Southern Miss goes 0-2 in their own home regional after yapping about how they've been underrated all year, they're going to go from underrated to overrated like that, because all they've done over the last month is beat up on a bunch of bad Sunbelt teams and Troy. I'll give them Troy. Troy's good. Top 50 team. Didn't make the NCAA tournament. We've been through that. But that's it. That would be the definition of overrated. Going 0-2. All right. Losing the regional is going to be disappointing. That'll be a different thing. But you go 0-2. That's going to be bad. All right. That's going to be embarrassing. Can't be doing that. Also need to address the clowns that for some reason think I want Southern Miss to lose. Furthest from the truth. Right now, there are 2 fan bases that engage. Marshall and Southern Miss. Need Southern Miss to go to Omaha. Want Southern Miss to go to Omaha. All right. I don't have a problem calling out fan bases and teams when they don't do well. Ask the Cajuns. Have no problem calling out the Cajuns. We did a whole episode when the Cajuns want Matt Deggs fired, and Matt Deggs shouldn't be fired, as if they've been going to super regionals in Omaha prior to Matt Deggs getting there. They haven't been. He had a bad year. He knows it. We'll see if they rebound it. You got to give him a chance. It didn't work out this year. All right. So I root for Sunbelt teams. It's a Sunbelt podcast. I'm an unabashed homer. All right. So we want Southern Miss to win. We want Coastal to win. I'm rooting for the former Cajuns in Oklahoma City. No, believe you me, we want Southern Miss to win. All right. It is the joke is it's all about me. It's all about the podcast. We need Southern Miss to bounce back and win this regional. And so we have something to talk about other than how they didn't win the regional, and that conversation ends on Monday. No, not great, Bob. So let's see. JB Middleton, 7 innings, 1 or 2 runs, bats come alive, get it done. We'll worry about Sunday on Sunday, get it done on Saturday. All right, let's talk about Coastal Carolina and how they easily took care of Fairfield after the weather blew through. Do that after I tell you about FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. New to FanDuel, it's a perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, Dave Schultz, locked on Sunbelt, your teams every day. Here in Charleston, South Carolina. Everyone gathering for my mother's 85th birthday. So we're going around taking a bus tour. Then we're doing a nice dinner tonight. I think I'm catching up with a friend of mine for lunch. So we're doing that. The nephew is trying to sleep over on the bed over there, but we warned him he's not sleeping anymore. All right, Coastal Carolina with an easy victory, 10-2 over Fairfield. Cameron Flukie, 2 runs, 3 hits, 7 innings, a walk, and 9 punch outs. Good job by him. I guess the big story in this ball game is that weather that somehow missed Charleston, which is a couple hours, I believe, south of Conway and Myrtle Beach. And that game started a few hours later than it was supposed to. I thought it was supposed to start at 6 and maybe started at 9, something along those lines. And did come home and watch a little bit. They were already up 3-4-0. They got another home run to left field, and Coastal did what Coastal did. All right. They took care of business. They now have the longest winning streak in the nation, 19. My guy Glavin in Northeastern did lose yesterday to Mississippi State. Let's see what the Bats did yesterday. Bodine leading off. I love the catcher leading off. 1 for 4 with a run batted in. Mitchell 2 for 4 with a run batted in. Alexander with a run batted in. Blake Barthol with a run batted in. I mean, the first 4 guys all drove in runs. And then you like it at the bottom. Will Sykes, 1 for 4, 2 runs scored, and 2 runs batted in. So you like that the bottom of the order set the table. Thorndike, Pato, Dooley, and Sykes all scored 2 runs apiece. That's 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, there's a pinch hitter in there. So, yeah. So 6, 7, 8, 9 all scored 2 runs apiece. That's a great job by the bottom of the lineup setting the table for the top of the lineup. Flukie does a great job. Fairfield scores a couple of runs in the 5th and the 6th, but Coastal responded as soon as the bottom of the 6th, putting 4 runs on the board in the 6th, 2 more in the 7th. Easy peasy. I mean, how long did this game actually last? 2 hours and 40 minutes. Actually, it did start late at 10:37. So it actually did start more than 4 hours later than it was supposed to. And so now Coastal Carolina gets the ECU Pirates instead of the Florida Gators. We'll see how that turns out. All right. ECU came out and, I mean, played their backsides off. Ethan Norby pitched a whale of a ball game. They kind of methodically did it. A lot of teams, Stetson had like a 7-run first inning against NC State. But ECU put up like 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 2 in the third, 3 more in the fourth. It was like Florida could never get back in the game. They could never stop the bleeding. When you get a big inning. All right, that's 5 runs. Now we got to put up zeros, and then you can start to catch up. But if you never put up zeros, you can't start catching up. And so now Coastal Carolina gets ECU, and Fairfield gets the Gators. So now we're thinking, again, it's still going to be Coastal Carolina against the Gators, but it'll be the Gators' third pitcher, probably against Riley Eichhoff, right? Because you're going to get Jacob Morrison and his 11-0 Sunbelt pitcher of the year going for the Chanticleers today. And you're certainly looking good if he can do what Fluky did yesterday. Certainly not going to be easy. ECU is going to have, a bunch of confidence coming in. If we can do what we did against the Gators, why can't we do that against the Chanticleers? Easier said than done. But it is amazing. I mean, Murray State took down Ole Miss. There were a bunch of upsets last night. And so, again, no pun intended, but maybe pun intended. As we mentioned, baseball is much more fluky than the other sports. There is no 3-point shot to get you back in there. You can't call a 20, right? You can't design a play. You can't take it to the hoop and, try to get fouled, right? There's no power play, Now at the same time, you can't run out of time either, right? You run out of outs, but you can't run out of time. That's why we all love baseball the way that we do. The pitch clock helps move things along. All right. They finally got that going. So a 2-hour and 40 game doesn't have to be 3.5 hours. Could probably add 5 seconds to the clock. That's not going to be, pitching doesn't have to be an aerobic workout. It already is tough enough as it is. But Coastal Carolina is sitting in the driver's seat, and obviously Southern Miss is not. All right. So we'll come back. We'll talk about those 2 ball games for a few minutes, kind of doing a bonus episode. We'll try to watch as much as we can tonight. And then, of course, we got the nephew, big Pacers fan. So we got to watch Game 6 tonight, somewhere around dinner. And then the nieces want to go karaoke singing. And, of course, my brother and his friend, think you have to be good being karaoke singing, and you don't have to be good. The idea is to be bad and to sing as long a song as you can. We're going to do a little American Pie and singing all the verses just to be bad. All right, let's take a time out, thanking everybody, and then we'll come back and we'll preview a little bit more, today's action right after this on Locked On Sunbelt. All right, May is going to be the 3rd best month that the podcast has ever had. We're coming off a record-setting month in April. The previous record month was December, and I'm going to tell you, the one constant in that is Charles Huff. So, and Southern Miss, for that fact of the matter. All right, both times it's been Southern Miss, and Marshall has had something to do with that. So, thank you so much. But those are the 2 things that got the podcast up and going. And of course, this past month has been a lot of Southern Miss. All right. Went on a long winning streak. You guys thought that by saying they're on the bubble, or at least they were on the bubble at 44, thinking that they weren't going to make it, or, it was an issue. So I appreciate it. I appreciate all the following. We need them to win, guys. We need them to rally. All right. And I'm sitting here hoping that they do. Very much so. So do appreciate it. Hopefully we can get to 2,000 subscribers. Don't forget, as much as we're having a good hair day, and the hair's been looking good as of recently, don't forget about those audio podcasts. Need help with those, the Apple and the Spotify. You don't have to, watch the YouTube on the way to work. You can listen the same way. It's the exact same podcast. So you can get it on the way to work, or even working out, running, I can motivate you while you're running, because I know I can piss some people off. All right. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Let's preview Saturday's action. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. I got an espresso. I'm not sure if that's my jam. Anyways. Okay. So you do have, I don't even know who's pitching for Alabama. I probably should look that up. But obviously for Southern Miss, we have JB Middleton. All right. And so, and I'm not going to say, I'm not going to I'm not sure it would have made a difference, to be honest with you. All right. I'm not going to question that move. All right. I don't know if it would have been 11-4, but I'm not going to second guess that move. I was all for Matt Adams pitching. It didn't work out, but I'm not second guessing that move. I will second guess taking Matt Adams out. I didn't like that move when it happened, but I'm not going to second guess. I like that move, pitching Matt Adams. Didn't work. I don't have a problem with that. But you do get JB Middleton today. And as I mentioned, we're not looking for a quality start. Quality start is 6 innings, 3 runs. That's a 4.5 ERA. We need better than that. I think I said 7 innings, 2 runs. We may need more than that. You may need 7 innings. Well, I said 1 or 2 runs. All right. That's like worst case scenario. 7 innings, 2 runs. All right. There used to be a time, I believe, when they'd ask Sandy Koufax, well, you did your job, right? You guys lost 2-1. He said, sometimes you got to win 1-0. All right. Unless those bats come around, which I think they will. All right. And baseball is one of those games where you can't try harder, right? Football, you can try harder. Hockey, a little bit, you can try harder. Basketball, you can try harder. Baseball and golf, you can't try harder. You have to relax. All right. I used to work at a golf course, and the instructor in the middle of one of his lessons was like, Schultz, come on over here for a second. You know how we would discuss the grip pressure, and we go 1 through 10, and Jim tells us, you got to do it between a 4 and a 5. You're gripping that club like an 11. All right. Relax a little bit. And so you can't grip the bat like a 10. You can't try harder, right? Like Crash Davis tells Nuke Lelouch, right? Hold it like an egg, right? The harder you try to throw, the less control you have. So you can't try harder per se. They need to relax and not necessarily let the game come to them, but, just do what Southern Miss does. JB Middleton's going to pitch well. They're going to play some good defense. Nick Monasterio is going to come out. I think here's going to be the thing, which is ridiculous, but they're going to be it's going to be interesting who the visiting team is, because usually, because they're both the home teams, Alabama and who we'll see who's a visiting team. If Southern Miss is a visiting team today, they need to jump on top in the first. They need to get an early lead. They need to play from ahead. Okay. I'm not a big believer in the bunt these days. Coastal Carolina does that all the time. All right. Coastal Carolina, it doesn't matter what inning it is. It doesn't matter what the situation is. They will give up and out. In this case, I would do that early on. All right. Don't need the big inning. I need 1. I need 2. I need to play from ahead. I need the guys to relax and feel confident in themselves. Because if they get behind 1 or 2-0, I feel like they're going to start gripping the bat, and you're going to see sawdust coming from the bat. And that's going to be bad. Okay. Alabama's under the same pressure. All right. They don't want to go 0-2 either. All right. I'd say Alabama's feeling the pressure because they're the SEC, and they had that high RPI, but Southern Miss is playing in front of the home fans. So let's see which team relaxes more and which team gets the better pitching. I think it's going to be Southern Miss and JB Middleton. I think they're going to come through in the clutch. All right. Now to Coastal Carolina taking on ECU. Again, they get the Sun Belt Pitcher of the Year. This is the way Coastal Carolina lined it up. Again, I agree with that move. Jacob Morrison going on Saturday. In this case, it worked. All right. Cameron Fluke was outstanding. And now they get their ace going against not the Florida Gators, ECU. Careful what you wish for. All right. ECU played very well yesterday, and going to come in here with a bunch of confidence, although listening to what I heard, they weren't getting in without winning the conference tournament. So it only takes a week to get hot in baseball. They played well last week. They played well yesterday. They're feeling good about themselves. Here in this game, Coastal Carolina will be the visiting team, which is ridiculous, but that's the way that it works. You know that going in, they're not changing the rules now. See if Coastal Carolina can jump on East Carolina fast. Don't let East Carolina get comfortable. All right. See if they can play from behind compared to what they did yesterday when they were playing from ahead from the get-go. 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 2 in the third, 3 in the fourth. They were way ahead. And, by the time I saw it, it was 5-0, and then it was 7-0, and then it was 9-0. And Florida was toast. If you can turn that around, all right. And a little bit of a difference is that East Carolina is going to have, it's only going to be their first loss. But it could still very well be Coastal Carolina versus Florida. The difference being it would be an elimination game for the Gators compared to being a winner's game for Coastal Carolina. So could still end up being that way. So we'll see what happens. All right. I still believe Southern Miss is going to win today. And then again, worry about Sunday on Sunday, and you worry about Monday on Monday. I can't. This is when that cliche comes into play. All right. One game at a time. Although last night in the fourth inning, I would have rather had Christian Ostrander thinking bigger picture and leaving Matt Adams in. All right. Today, though, can only worry about Saturday. All right. And I'm sure that's what he stressed last night. All right. Take that lineup card, rip it up. All right. Can't do anything about this game now. I can't do anything about Sunday, and I can't do anything about Monday. We can only worry about Saturday. And if we don't take care of Saturday, there's not going to be a Sunday and a Monday. All right. So we'll worry about Saturday on Saturday, and we'll worry about Sunday on Sunday, and we'll worry about Monday on Monday. As far as Coastal goes, just keep playing what you're doing. Great game. Not easy to come out. Of course, they had a bunch of delays in Baton Rouge with actually no weather. They thought weather was coming. Tarp was on. There may have been a little bit of rain, but they had no real weather, whereas the weather actually came through. And so it's a little bit easier to see why you have a delay when you got the weather to come through. So it's a good job by Coastal to deal with that delay and not let it affect them and take care of business and move on to today. And hopefully they'll get another win over East Carolina, setting themselves up in really good shape in the Conway Regional. I believe they are lined up with Auburn, who also, I believe, let's make sure they did. Everything that I saw last night on the Twitter indicated that Auburn did win, but let me just make sure they did. Yes, they did. They did. They beat Central Connecticut 9-5. So they did win. Okay. All right. So that's where it is. All right. We'll try to have another one on Sunday. Hopefully both teams, Coastal Carolina and Southern Miss, can pull out victories, and we'll see where we are come Sunday. Thanks so much for tuning in. Enjoy the ball games. We're going to go help celebrate Mama Schultz's 85th birthday. You've been watching Locked On Sunbelt. Have a great Saturday, everybody. We'll talk to you again on Sunday.